We have now hit 10,000 subscribers on YouTube, and I am so stoked and so grateful and so happy to all of the people who are watching my channel and watching my face. I hope the time is worth it because you are not getting it back. But I wanted to make a quick video and just say thank you. Thank you for spending time watching my tutorials. If you watch my cooking content, if you're a friend of mine who I know in real life and you just like to watch my YouTube videos that I post on the internet, thank you. Thank you so much for just joining the party and participating in the things that I like to make and I like to post, because I like to share things, and it just means a lot that there are going to be 10,000 people and more. I'm obviously going to keep continuing to grow this channel. It makes me very happy that people are willing to spend some time with me and learn some things, try some things, create some things, whatever else. So I wanted to make a video and say thank you to those 10,000 people, and whoever else is watching this video, thank you. And I wanted to give a quick explanation, because at the end of every single video I say, or I do recommend, to eat 1 gram of protein per pound of body weight and you'll make some. Now, let's just take a quick step into the past for a moment. There was a period of my life where I was going to school and I was going through organic chemistry, and I wanted to get a degree adjacent to nutrition, whether it was biochemistry or something like that. Long story short, I like science-related things. I love fitness. I train in bodybuilding and powerlifting because it makes me happy. When I was in high school, I was about 100 pounds overweight, and I've learned how to adjust a lot of my lifestyle to have a healthier life. Now, when I say at the end of every YouTube video, eat 1 gram of protein per pound of body weight to make some gains, what I'm trying to say is treat your body well, treat yourself well, be kind and gentle to yourself, because being an artist, being someone who's working on a computer for long hours at a time, it's, I will say just pretty straight up that it's not good for your body. It is not good to be sedentary that much. So what I'm trying to say is that, especially for artists, if we're sedentary a lot of the time, it's very important, to me at least, to communicate that we should treat our bodies well so we can spend more time in our lifetime making art, making cool stuff, making cool things. And the reason why I'm making this video in my kitchen versus in my home office where I make motion graphics and I mainly make tutorials is because all of this is interconnected. Whether you are someone who lives behind a camera, you make art in Blender, Cinema4D, Maya, whatever you use, the way you treat your body and the way you treat yourself with your nutrition and your fitness affects your art. And I think all these things are interconnected to some degree. We're gonna get into some other bigger projects at some point on how all of this is interconnected. But I wanted to give a final note on what I really do recommend for most people when it comes to protein intake. Because 1 gram of protein per pound of body weight is actually a lot. I am a 5'7" male. I live somewhere between 145 and 165 pounds, depending on whether I'm trying to put on muscle or lose some body fat. Eating somewhere between 130 to 180 grams of protein is a lot, especially for someone who doesn't really know a whole lot about nutrition and cooking and all that. It's like, how do I get that much protein? And it ends up becoming a lot of egg whites, protein powder, Greek yogurt, stuff like that. And if you're someone who does not exercise and do bodybuilding and powerlifting style resistance training, then you don't need that much protein. Let's be real. However, a high protein diet is, based on some studies, beneficial to health. While we won't get into the science of all of those things, what I will say is this. So if you're someone who is sedentary and you don't do a whole lot of activity, the RDA recommended dietary allowance, that's what the RDA stands for, is 0.6 grams to 1 gram per kilogram of body weight. Now, if you are someone who is actively resistance training, weight training, powerlifting, bodybuilding, whatever the activity that you do, if it involves intense weight training, then the recommendation based on a lot of the sources I have consumed is 1.6 to 2.2 grams of protein per kilogram of body weight. Now, if we run some math and do some fuzzy calculations, which we won't get into, the gram to kilogram pound conversion is about 1 gram of protein per pound of body weight. Now that is a little bit older, but just because you don't get 1 gram of protein per pound of body weight does not mean you will make some gains. And what I'm trying to say is eating a higher protein diet is probably more beneficial to health than a lot of people realize, whether you're sedentary or not. Now, a lot of my sources come from other peer-reviewed academic literature or people who do look at the peer-reviewed academic literature and summarize it for people like me who, while I was a former personal trainer, I wasn't deep into legitimate scientific research on nutrition. I felt it was important when I was doing personal training to stay up to date with modern fitness trends and modern research so that we are giving our clients, our personal training clients, the best information possible so that they don't have to. So to an extent, it was a bit of a shortcut to my clients. It's like, hey, this is what science says. This is what we can think about. I'm a personal trainer, so I'm not actually legally allowed to give you any legitimate fitness suggestions and advice. But what I can say is the science says this, you should take this for your own lifestyle decisions and how you want to live your life. But in general, on average, eating a higher protein diet is generally a good thing for health. So when I say at the end of every single YouTube video, eat 1 gram of protein per pound of body weight to make some gains, it is purely to, hey, think about your nutrition, your health, and make sure that you're treating yourself well so that you can spend more time doing art and creating cool stuff and just living a strong, happy life. And the reason why we are in my kitchen as opposed to my nice home office with much better lighting and all that is because I believe that we as artists need to understand that not everything needs to be perfect, but we can always try and improve ourselves just a little bit every single day. And I believe as artists, in addition to improving our art, it is valuable to think about our health just a little bit. I know it's been very helpful for me to have more energy making the stuff that I do, and I wanted to give a little bit of context to my recommendation at the end of every single YouTube video. So if you are someone who is considering embarking on some level of fitness, then you are not going in completely blind and just blatantly following random advice on the internet from some random guy, random kid. I'm 31 years old, but I still identify as a kid. Whatever I say on the internet, because you're different. You have your own needs, you have your own preferences, and it might not involve powerlifting and bodybuilding like I do. It might involve doing cycling, karate, jujitsu, yoga, whatever that is, and treating our body well is important to me. So I wanted to give some context. So to wrap up and summarize, if you are sedentary, 0.6 grams to 1 gram per kilogram of body weight. And if you do high level, intense resistance training, 1.6 to 2.2 grams per kilogram of body weight. Now that is often complex and hard to do math sometimes, so remember, eat 1 gram of protein per pound of body weight and you make some gains. And if you can't quite get there, making sure that you're in a somewhat broad range of that is perfectly fine. I'll leave it there. Thank you for watching. I'll see you next time. Bye. Bye. I'm too far, so bye. High five.